morning, heart of South Philly. Let's go see what the people have got to say. I'm ready to roll, baby.
Now listen here, Dutch. Mets and the Cowboys, they suck.
1, 2, 3, go Birds! Go Birds! Here we got 302BIRDS, Gino Stinks. Go Birds!
Go Birds.
Get your water ice and soft pretzels ready because you are now tuned into a 302BIRDS podcast experience. Proudly presented by TickPick, Nick's Pizza, El Diablo Burritos, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street. Let's take it to the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to our season finale, technically, of season 6. It is insane to think now for 7 seasons. Now, not 7 years. What we do is like I've said a couple of times, every off season for Phillies, Eagles, rotate there. So it's coming up on our 4th year now, covering the Birds for you guys. That's insane. I mean, you got like an Eagles analyst over there who's got his freaking shirt on, his microphone. He looks like a professional. So does Ashley as well. But seriously, it is really cool and hard to believe that we've been doing this for 4 years now.
I'm also a professional NCAA 25 player, athlete. Last night I destroyed Dalton in 1 second left in the 4th quarter. So just wanted to say that.
You should find that game clip. And I can't wait till we can stream it online. Because I paid. If anybody's good with these Elgato things, let me know. I'm trying to figure this out. I spent like $200 on it, and the thing hardly works. Story for another day, but soon enough, we're gonna figure out streaming for you guys, me and Jack, and broadcast it. Broadcast college football, broadcast a lot more because there's just a lot of good games out right now. It's a good time to be a sports fan, video game fan, and all of the above. But like I mentioned earlier, just us 3 tonight, no Ballpark Tommy. So we're going to be covering Ballpark Tommy. We don't have a call-in for you guys tonight, but as always, do want to thank El Diablo for sponsoring their segment. So I'm going to hit their intro first.
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo Burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking how your day is. Their food is phenomenal as well. Their burritos are out of this world. One of the best burritos in town. Their queso is phenomenal. Their burrito bowls are amazing as well. When you're in and around Delaware, stop by your local El Diablo Burritos and tell them that 302BIRDS sent you. God bless. Go Birds.
Time for Phillies talk with Ballpark Tommy. Finger stitch. Big thank you to Nick's Pizza and, of course, El Diablo Burritos for sponsoring our podcast all season long. Headed right in the ballpark, we're just going to address the elephant in the room. Whit Merrifield goes away, and where does he go? Oh, ow. Braves, how are you guys feeling about this?
Jack, do you want to take this one first?
I mean, it's not much to say, but it was a bust to begin with. We thought this guy was a great player when we traded for him or got him, and he hasn't performed well at all. He's had a few good games as the Phillies, but the fact, and this guy doesn't know Philly, the fact that he went to the Phillies' rival team, granted, maybe it was the only team that traded for him, but that's just disrespect. And that just makes my blood boil because the fact that you go to a rival and like we were talking about last year with Rhys Hoskins, like
yes,
he didn't go to the Braves. He went to the Milwaukee Brewers. Like, that was a big question mark. But he knows Philly. He loves Philly, and he respects the city, the team, and the fact this guy's a Brave is just crazy to me. I hope he does horrible. Or I hope we see him in the playoffs and we just take it to him. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. And the fact that literally in warm-ups, his first game with them, he injures himself. Obviously you never want to see that for anybody, but that was kind of ironic. My family group chat personally was blowing up when this news initially broke. I was at work, so I was unable to do anything about it. But yeah, it's just, again, I don't think he knows Philly. He only spent he signed him in February.
Yeah.
So like not even 6 months realistically here. But that is like the number one thing that you don't do. Or if you're going to do it, you better have a really fantastic reputation in Philly before you go somewhere else. I look at Zach Ertz as a prime example of that. But this is not what you do. There's not really anything else to say on it.
Yeah, it's uncalled for. Like, Zach Ertz is exactly what I was thinking about in my head, or of course the name that's flashing up on the bottom of your screen. T.O. Deshaun Jackson is, of course, the one that strikes me the most in the heart. But what I was thinking about too when I was taking notes for this was there's got to be that emotional connection with a player for it to hurt when they leave. There wasn't really there was no emotional connection to Whit. Whit was like a cool dude. I respect Whit, but like we didn't really love him. He was just like Whit. It was like cool. Like he was like, people were like, oh, you like Wiz Whit? Like trying to get personality of him, typical like Philly reporters. And he's just like, it's all right, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he just was a bland dude. Don't mean that in a bad way, but unfortunately his game couldn't even live up to be bland. That was what we needed him. We needed it to be bland. We needed it to be basic. We needed him to just be a plug and play guy that could come in and just do the basics. And unfortunately, he couldn't do that. So when I see that he signs with the team with the Braves, a lot of people were upset. A lot of people were hurt. This, that. I'm not so much. I'm more like, hey, have him. Keep him. You guys should start him because he's a great player. You guys see exactly how I'm saying that on Spotify. You can't see the sarcasm boiling down on my face. But yes, hopefully it ends up biting them in the ass like it bit us in the ass. And hopefully it doesn't continue to bite us in the ass anymore, because I have been seeing some absolutely wild bonkers theories of some people saying the Whit Merrifield curse is real since he's been gone. The Phillies are... That's not real. That's just the Phillies are coming back from All-Star break after cranking it the first half of the season. Speaking of cranking it, Castellanos, I mean, this correlation is starting to get absolutely scary, right?
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I actually, if you watch the post-game show, the Phillies post-game show, the day that this happened, I did actually call it in our Phillies group chat. I was driving and my phone was blowing up saying that, Biden had dropped out of the race. So my first thing was, I'm going to text the guys to see if we think Cassie's going to ball out again. My one brother's response was instantly, no, nobody died. He's like, nobody died. Therefore, it's not going to happen.
Maybe he'll get a single.
Exactly. Right. But it definitely happened. And then, seeing the rumors of, the death hoax of Jimmy Carter passing away. And as my youngest brother told me today, I don't think Castellanos learned that Jimmy Carter is still alive because he, again, balled out today. Did it matter? No, today didn't matter. However, the other day it did matter. So I don't know. It is kind of crazy. Jack, anything?
Yeah. I mean, the correlation's crazy. And, I hate to beat his drum. Hey, more tragic things should happen. But once something bad happens, Castellano answers the call. And it's crazy. The 95 bridge collapsing, him hitting a home run. It's insane what this guy can do. And I'm not sure Did the Phillies play July 13th and he hit another home run when Trump was shot? Because I feel like he did.
Yes, or he did something. Yes. Couldn't tell you what he did something.
Yeah.
I'm going to read you guys I have the whole list when you're ready. Like I pulled it up. That was what I was looking up. Tell me when you're good.
Good.
Cool. I didn't know if you wanted to finish a point. Sorry.
No.
So Mobland Redux at RackJack24 on Twitter tweeted, here is a list of all of the Castellanos home run during significant events. It started with the apology for the homophobic slur on the broadcast. Then there was the career-threatening injury for Tatis.
Yes.
The eulogy for a World War II veteran. Jesus. A 9/11 tribute video package on air. Oh my gosh. Apology of opposing team's coach getting a DUI. Good God, man. 10 minutes after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Are you fucking kidding me? 10 minutes? Does he have like a phone out and is he watching like ET Entertainment Tonight like 24/7 and he's just tapped the fuck into everything? Like seriously. This one's sad. Like Dwayne Haskins' death. Memorial Day tribute package on air. Eulogy for just deceased PA announcer for the stadium. Cancer announcement for his team's owner. Are you kidding me, Nick? Vin Scully death announcement an hour after the death of Queen Elizabeth was announced. I remember that. There were like a lot of memes about it before saying that he was going to do it, and then he did it. The bridge that collapsed. The Ocean Gate submarine. 3 other celebrity deaths. 2 home runs on the anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The assassination attempt of Trump. And when last but not least, Biden withdrawal from the race. And that's just to date. This is just Wednesday, July 24th. So Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, oh my God, say your prayers and hope to God that nothing else happens. But that's insane. That is an insane correlation. And it's not like he's like Bryce Harper who's doing this shit every day. That's like he's the fucking Grim Reaper or something.
My thing is, if he was a Bryce Harper, right, I don't think we'd be looking into this as much as we are. But the fact that, I mean, at the beginning of the season, people on this podcast were calling for his head. They were like, he's done. Get him out of here. Yep. But here we are.
Yeah. And yeah, that's crazy. But also last night, I mean, we can transition. But last night he came in big. He had that 2 RBIs. Oh, well, 2 RBIs to put the Phillies up 3-1 when we eventually won. But at the same time, it's like when his bat is called on, he can answer because he's that kind of in between RBI home run guy. Just the fact that he's stepping up when we need him the most is amazing. I just think it's funny that they interviewed Alec Boehm last night, right? And Alec Boehm was like, why are you interviewing me? You should be interviewing Nick. So I just think it's July now. Keep this progress going because we're going to need it in October for sure.
Yeah, and if you guys are watching as well on Facebook, thank you, Jack, for covering that. I see Eagles Mania on here. If you guys haven't, please join the Eagles Mania Facebook group. If you guys haven't, they are awesome, doing great stuff over there. Please be sure to like it up. If you're watching on Facebook, all those little things really help us. If you're on Spotify, please write us a review. Any of those little things, like I said. But we talked about Casty Chaos. We talked about Whit to the Braves. Let's just get all the bad stuff out of the way in the beginning of the show. Cooper DeJean, unfortunately, is looking like a 3-week out injury. Now, I was trying to get like some sort of like specialist that could tell us a little bit more about this hamstring injury and what to expect. But here's what I can tell you as an amateur Eagles fan with no medical degree. Oh my God, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Once again, how many times are we going to say that this podcast? I will say that he's going to miss like one preseason game is my point. This is not the end of the world, guys. It's upsetting. It's sad, but I'd rather play it safe. My hope for DeJean is that he's starting at that nickel slot spot on defense by the end of the year for us. So the fact that he only has to sit out like one preseason game, this is a minimal issue. I saw some people on Twitter overreacting last night a little bit, and I'm like, what is going on here, guys? Like, I get it. Cooper DeJean's an exciting player. We want to see him out there. Some people are probably upset that bought tickets that wanted to see him. He's a very exciting player. So Coop, take it as a compliment. But yeah, not ideal to miss training camp as a rookie. That's a good point by ESP. The experience, all of that, but point being, not the end of the world. He'll be able to, get a little bit of baptism by fire. He played at a high level at Iowa, so I'm not worried about it. Are either of you guys worried about this, or what are your thoughts?
I'm worried from the standpoint of hamstrings, as somebody had said. I saw in the comments. One second. Let me go back and find it. Hamstrings are tricky. Often, once they're injured once, it's much more likely that they will get injured again. And that is my bigger concern, is we obviously don't want to start him too quickly. It was a non-contact, non-football related injury. So it kind of just sounds like he stepped funny. And it did something weird, which is a little concerning in terms of what actually happened and can it happen again. On paper, like if it's truly just like he tweaked it and we're all good, then I'm not worried. But my thing is it going to happen again? And what kind of true injury is this? And we're not going to know that information until he starts playing again.
Yeah, I mean, this is the injury that gave Trey Turner, he was sitting out for 2.5, 3 months, hamstring injury. So right now I'm not too concerned. But at the same time, like Ash said, is the more there's more at risk of you re-injuring it during the season. So I think if, he's a rookie, kind of ease him in, maybe see how he plays in the preseason, and then kind of get him in that starting slot position at quarterback. So I'm not too concerned about it. I hope the best recovery for him because this guy is a talent. What was that?
We need him.
Yeah, we need him for sure. But yeah, I mean, hey, thank God it wasn't like anything too serious for sure. No surgery is needed, so knock on wood.
Yeah, that would have been not ideal. So that's like you said, Jack. The best case kind of scenario when you have an injury, never hope for an injury, but it looks to be pretty minimal. So pivoting now into our Sixers. Whoa, Jesus. Like I said, how many times can I say it this show? At least I'm not dropping the F-bomb anymore. There you go. I get better. But wanted to talk about Reggie Jackson coming to the Sixers. How are you guys feeling about this move? Obviously a game-changing signing for Philadelphia and somebody coming in adding more depth.
Jack, you can take this one.
I'm not really sure, his stat. I mean, 1.9 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 10.2 points or whatever. That was only 22 minutes. So, I'm not sure if he's a rookie or not, but I don't think he is. I think he's old. But
it looks like it was a contract buyout with the Charlotte Hornets. I'm just going to give a little bit more context here too. He arrived in July with a trade with the Denver Nuggets as part of a salary shedding maneuver, and this is per ESPN, and now plans to reconnect with his former LA Clippers teammate Paul George on a Sixers roster that is adding veterans with significant playoff experience per ESPN. So I do like the fact that he has playoff experience, but go ahead, Jack. Sorry, I just wanted to give everybody a little bit more context.
Yeah, I mean, we need as much depth as possible. We have, like Greg has said a couple weeks ago, we are a empty grocery list. We need to check the boxes with players for depth because we can't really rely heavily on Maxey or Embiid. So adding more depth to the team, I think, is huge. And I think he's a solid player. From what I remember when he played in previous years, I forget where he was at other than the Nuggets, but he played somewhere else. And I think this is a good signing. Just kind of fill those empty spots on the roster, and see what we can do.
Yeah, I think it could be a good fit. I'm a little nervous because I feel like we are bringing in so many high value players, and I'm not really sure about locker room. That's my biggest concern, is the locker room feel. I do like the fact that he's played with Paul George. Hopefully that will kind of help him to mesh with everybody well. But I'm jury's out on how I feel on this one. I have very mixed feelings on it at best right now.
Yeah, I mean, the guy has been around for a while too.
He's 34.
I'm checking out a little bit more on his career, and he's been in the league since 2011. Was there for a pretty decent time with the Thunder when they were a little bit more relevant, and then was with the Pistons from 2015 to 2020. Not horrible. Clippers 2020 to 2023, which was a pretty relevant time for them. Paul George, Terrence Mann, Patrick Beverly, and then won a championship actually with the Nuggets when Joker got his. So guy has experience. He has championship pedigree. I think that that's kind of what Daryl Morey is trying to do right now, is bring in championship pedigree, but guys that aren't head cases. You know what I mean? Guys that are going to be good for the locker room, guys that are going to want to play basketball, guys that are going to want to go out and get a ring. So respect the move and like it.
Yeah, I mean, one last thing I have to say is, like, I don't really like how Maury's making these pickups, because granted they had playoff experience, but at the same time they're old as shit. Like, they're not young bucks anymore. Like, we got to really keep in mind, the wear and tear of these players that we're signing that have playoff experience. It doesn't mean that we're going to make it to the playoffs and make it past round 2 with playoff experience players. It's a matter of, yeah, exactly. Like Chris said, we don't need overpaid old guys. And Paul George, see, that was a good sign, but at the same time, he's overpaid. He's old. So it's just, I don't think adding these veterans that have playoff experience really is going to help out our case whatsoever. It's a matter of how these players gel together on the court, what they can do, how they can help out each individual player. Like, this is, I don't think it's the best decision. I think this is kind of his last resort, is, let's go sign all these playoff pedigree players who have been in the league for, 9, 10, 11 years and see what they can do. It's not going to take us to the finals at all. That is not that's not what we should be doing. I think we should be adding more younger guys who can last, because, these veterans that we have, they can give us, maybe a good 2 to 3 years, and then what else are we going to do after that? You know what I mean? So I think it really relies on the younger players, or the 3 to 4 years experience in the league.
Yeah. So moving along now, back to the Birds. There's a lot cooking today at training camp. I saw the comment on a page, said the entire NFL was cracked out today. There were like 3 fights, or crashed out was the word that they said. 3 fights that went on. There was Travis Kelce getting into it with Kadarius Toney at camp. There was the fight of Derek Stingley going after Dalton Schultz at the Texans. And I think that there might have been one more that I'm drawing a blank on. But there were like a lot of fights going on today. Seems like day one back, everybody's a little bit, ready to go, ready to fight. What do you guys think of this?
I don't understand the whole point of this, because why do you want to get in fights and potentially injure one of your teammates when preseason starts next week? Granted, preseason doesn't really matter. These players may not even play in preseason, but I just don't understand why they are doing this. Maybe it was a bet on FanDuel Sports. How many fights can players get on and on week one, or I'm sorry, day one training camp? I think it's really childish. There's no need for you to act like this for preseason or even like training camp. The first day, that's a little insane.
Yeah, I don't think it's setting any of those locker rooms up for success down the line. Training camp is just that weird time, right? Where nobody, at least the rookies, they have no idea where they stand. They're just kind of walking into a room of, in many cases, a lot of people that they've looked up to for a long time. And now suddenly they're like one of them. And it's a unique time too, as the fans and as other people. It basically turns into, when there's not fighting going on, it turns into sunshine and rainbows, and it drives me nuts. We have no idea. Let's say a week from now, we're going to have no idea how these people are developing. No clue. No clue how these rookies are doing, because everything is sunshine and rainbows all the time. And that was something that every year I struggle with. In the preseason, I struggle with it. Because again, right now your time is to try to gel that locker room and to try to figure out for some of these people where they don't know if they're going to be making the 53-man roster. We don't know who we're going to be starting, who we're going to be having sitting on the bench, who we're going to be kind of rotating through. We don't know any of that right now. So that's where everybody just kind of needs to take a breath the next couple of weeks, as we're trying to figure all this out, and fights are just not going to help it.
Charlotte, I wish I had my whistle here. Oh my God, talk about a tongue twister. It's somewhere around here. I got to figure out where it is, because the streaming got to figure out. But yeah, you're right. I think somebody should be on the bench if they start a fight or get into a fight. It should go both ways. Like, to just try and have, if you guys saw the clip of Dalton Schultz, he was like very mature about it. No matter what some people want to say, he just walked away. He just didn't instigate, didn't do anything. He got swung on. I mean, you have on all those pads, that helmet probably didn't hurt, and then just kept walking. So at some point, you respect players like that. Hopefully, that starts to boil down. But moving along to some of these position battles, for our Philadelphia Eagles, there's a lot at stake. Middle linebacker number 1 and 2 are up for grabs. You got the right guard starting spot up for grabs. You got tight end up for grabs. And then whoever's going to come in and end up being that safety is up for grabs. There's more too, like running back 2. Who's that going to be? There's more at stake than people think for the Eagles throughout training camp. So those are some positions to keep an eye on. But I want to ask both you guys first before I get into my take. What are you guys most looking forward to seeing? What position battle? Or is there a player that you guys maybe have as like a favorite to come out as a starter throughout all of this?
I want to see Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I want to see that guy come out week 1 or preseason week 1 and see him wearing 51, his dad's number. I think
54.
Yeah, I thought I said 54. My bad.
All good.
But here's the thing. This is a beautiful thing to have, because we have so many good players at these positions that even if they don't get the starting role, someone goes down on injury, we have depth now. But I would really like to see Jeremiah Trotter out there starting week 1, maybe give him to week 5. I really think it's going to be between him and what's his face, Cooper DeJean. I really want to see what Cooper DeJean can do, how he can prove this organization that he is worth the starting role, and seeing what we can do and utilizing him. And same with Nolan Smith.
Yes.
Why didn't we see more reps on defense last season? Maybe he saw 10% of the action. So I think, the linebacker position, in my point of view, is what I really want to see this fight and see who can come up on top.
Well, Jack took 2 of my 3 people. The other person who I think it's a make or break season for him is Jordan Davis. This season, he came in with all the hype from Georgia, right? We were so ecstatic to have him play. And then he got injured, and where'd he go? So for me, this is his season that he needs to get his butt in gear and show us what he can do. Otherwise, I'm personally probably going to move on from him. And then again, Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean, I'm not sure that he's the right fit for this team, honestly, based off of what the little that we've seen, but I want to give him one more shot. And now he has quite a bit of competition. So we'll see. Hopefully that brings the best out of him, and we will see come first preseason game, which is in like 2.5 weeks, which is insane to me. And then from there, who knows? I think that's a battle, though, that will be going on into the regular season for sure. Who gets that starting position?
Yeah, I like the answer of Nakobe Dean too, Ash. I think that that's a great one. I actually was able to meet him last year, the night that we met Brandon Graham at the 94 WIP event at Chickies and Pete's, and he was as genuine as you would think he is. He's just such a good-hearted dude. His smile lights up a room. So he's like one of those players you just like as a person. But not to mention with that, when he first came out of college, I loved him as a player. I thought that the Eagles should take him first round. I've said that on this podcast millions of times before. So there's nobody that I'm rooting for more throughout this training camp than I would say Nakobe Dean to come out at that starting spot. If it was my ideal scenario, it would probably be Nakobe middle linebacker 1, just because he's a little bit more experienced. He was already supposed to be the green dot helmet player. They were going to test that out. And then I'd probably like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at the 2. Like Jack was saying, get him some reps, but maybe not as much pressure. That's what I would do if I was the defensive coordinator, because you got other guys too, but I don't know. I would just probably start with that. They may sign somebody. Devin White, maybe, I think is probably your most likely candidate.
He's going to be an edge rusher.
We have him.
Oh, they're going to use him as an edge rusher is what they came out and said.
I don't know.
I didn't say that. That's just my assumption.
Okay. I bet that I think that he'll end up starting. Like if I had odds in my head, -100 Devin White, +200 Nakobe Dean, +450 Jeremiah Trotter Jr. It's up for grabs, but I think that, the clear candidate is Devin.
Depending on how training camp goes, I think we know who's going to be the starting 2 middle linebacker. It's going to be Devin White probably, and also Nakobe Dean. Granted, those positions will probably change as the season goes on to see who we can get and, first team reps. But I think we have the answer made up that those will be our starting 2 middle linebackers. It's just up to them to keep that starting role, to perform well, and, go from there.
Yeah. So moving along now, just because my laptop is getting closer to dying, FYI. Don't worry, we still have like a good 20 minutes left on it. Yeah. But we've talked about it a little bit briefly before. Hassan Reddick is still not showing up for New York Jets training camp. I know that he wants his contract, but this is really, really, really not a good look for your first start to a city. Jack, I see you shaking your head. Go ahead and take it first. I mean, do you think that there's any chance he comes back to Philadelphia, or you think he just doesn't play at all this season?
I mean, dude, you lucked out. You should have took the hometown deal. Yes, you deserve the money, but at the same time, you're not getting what you want at the Jets. So you may not even play this year. So make sure you regret those. Make sure you really think about your decisions on why you wanted to leave. Because this kid, depending on what happens, is the same thing with Jordan Love. They haven't got paid yet, so they haven't showed up to the training camp. So you should have really thought about it before you got your head on a pedestal and was like, "Hey, I deserve this money." Don't get me wrong; he deserves every dollar amount of it, but at the same time, you probably should have took the hometown deal where you would have had a secure position on the defense. You would have been playing. You would have been happy. You seemed happy in Philadelphia, so shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah, and to think that still in our division, CeeDee Lamb is not showing up either, which is bananas. And honestly, I'm okay with that one continuing to ride out. They can pay him just keep riding that out. It's been just disappointing, honestly, to see that Reddick has been responding this way. Obviously, he feels as if he's worth that money, which I agree he definitely is, but I think the way he's going about it is not great. I guess Sela has come out and basically said that he's never actually never actually talked to Reddick. There we go. About anything. Like, he doesn't pick up his calls, anything. So there's a lot of things going on in this situation that no one knows, no one other than who's directly involved knows about. But yeah, it's not a good look at all.
And they think that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have beef, could be worse, guys. So, and today, just to address that really quick, sorry, what were you saying, Jack?
Yeah, just look at what Shard said. Dak Prescott may become the highest paid quarterback at $60 million a year and has not even made it to the Super Bowl or past the second round, which is a crazy thought. Very crazy thought. So
yeah,
that's an interesting fact because he's definitely not worth that $60 million a year. But anyway, that's all I got to say. I wanted to hit on that real quick.
Yeah, and pivoting now to, it's just crazy to see around the league how Jack kind of hit on earlier, but it seems like a trend now, or it's normal for a lot of players to no-show. Ashley kind of hinted at it earlier with CeeDee Lamb, but I almost want to salute the Cowboys. My question to you guys is, where do you think CD would go if he doesn't end up in Dallas? Because Shard also alluding to it as well. They're not going to be able to pay Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb most likely unless they basically, and Micah Parsons. Yeah. Like, they're not going to be able to pay all three. And you would think Dallas being a wise franchise, they would pick one offensive and one defensive guy. They may pick two offensive and be really stupid. I would love that if Micah Parsons left. Like, if I could pick one out of those three to lead the team, it would be Micah, then CD, then Dak. However, I think that they're smarter than that. So I do think that they're going to believe in their ability to draft wide receiver. But Michael Gallup just retired too. So I know he, necessarily wasn't there, but I think for the Cowboys, they're really in a tough spot wide receiver wise because they're going to need to really hit it home next year on the draft and pray that they don't have any injury this year because CeeDee Lamb is upset with his team. Like, this also isn't good for your vibe, your locker room. Like, how are other guys going to respond when they see that this is acceptable with your franchise? That you guys tolerate this, players doing this kind of shit. Like, they're just going to do the same thing. So you're setting an example to the rest of the team in a way like, hey, this is okay with us. If you see what I'm saying. So, NFL's not in a good place money-wise right now. Because actually, shout out to Josh Harris, too, who Jack and I have both worked with. He's a great dude. And he made a good point today saying, when we were talking about it, saying that most NFL players only walk away with like 30% of their salary by the time everything's done, taxes, all that, like, which is not a lot. So then when you think about each time that they miss a game or something like that, it's like, that's like way more money than they think that it is long-term for them because you don't get that income throughout your whole life. You only get that income for 10, 15, 5, however long you're good for years. So Hassan Reddick, CeeDee Lamb, whoever you are, hopefully it gets better and some more people start to get out there. But I want to also touch on something I saw on Instagram today that I found pretty interesting. Out of these three QBs, three pretty popular QBs being Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and CJ Stroud. I want to ask you guys, who would you say is the most clutch and why?
I mean, it's pretty easy. I think we're across the board. This is going to be our answer. I think it's Patrick Mahomes. I really do think it's Patrick Mahomes. As much as I hate to say that, that dude is a unicorn. He is something, throwing at all different types of angles. He can go on drives when the team needs him the most to get the points on the board. I think Patrick Mahomes is the most clutch player. He is different. He's a different breed of quarterbacks. And I mean, granted, you got to also keep in mind who you're throwing the ball to. So, I mean, if we're looking at that, I think it would be either Jalen Hurts or CJ Stroud, because Patrick Mahomes has Travis Kelce, cool. And then he has that one guy that he's the guy, I don't know if he's a rookie or he was traded. But they don't really have that many good receivers. So overall, though, I will say Patrick Mahomes. This guy can just perform, at peak performance, I think, in times when they need him the most.
Hands down, he's like the definition of the perfect Andy Reid quarterback. He is. I think he already is better than Tom Brady. I think as his career progresses, it's only going to get better. He is the quarterback that can do everything. And he has thrived in Kansas City. And it's just been the perfect recipe of success for him there. So as much as, I would love to say Jalen Hurts, it's not Jalen Hurts. It is Patrick Mahomes, 100%.
Yeah, I obviously think it's Mahomes too. What Mahomes has done in the NFL has been absolutely insane. He's changed the game for the better. As an Eagles fan, even I'm saying that. But my problem with this list is that they actually had CJ Stroud at 2.
Yes,
they were saying that CJ Stroud was more clutch than Jalen Hurts. What? Not at all. Not yet. CJ Stroud had a couple clutch moments last year, but I'm not ready to say that.
I hate to say it, Don.
You guys nodding your head, but I don't put Stroud over Hurts yet. Not yet for me. What about the Buffalo game last year? What about the Buffalo game? He did that all by himself, running down the field scoring.
But at the same time, Jalen Hurts has been in the league now for what, 4 years, 5 years, 4 years?
Yes.
And
okay, give it a couple years, and we'll see where this is.
CJ Stroud, as much as it pains me to say it, he brought the Houston Texans to the AFC South, North, whatever championship or playoff round or whatever as a rookie last year. Jalen Hurts was not doing that. So I hate to say it, but I gotta have to agree to that, how they place them. I think it's definitely CJ Stroud. He has had better, more moments where he was clutch compared to Jalen Hurts. Even though I bleed green, I just haven't seen it yet in Jalen Hurts to be he's a clutch player, but he's not number 2 clutch player out of those 3.
Can I show you guys something real quick to make my point? Watch this. That was Jalen Hurts. He was left out to die with this team, with the Sharks. They literally didn't care anymore. When Carson Wentz left, we were all, transition QB, this, that. And then he ended up going to the playoffs. Then he ended up going to the Super Bowl. And then he ended up having a down year. And ever since he's had the down year, a lot of people have lost their belief in Jalen Hurts, their belief in his clutch ability, their belief in what he can do. And maybe not to the extent of where you lost your belief. Maybe you just think Stroud has a better ability. But I still think, in my mind, in my head, Jalen Hurts is that guy right behind Mahomes. Ever since he's overtaken Allen for it and Burrow, and I would actually probably say Burrow might even be more clutch than Stroud. Like the fact that Stroud is, I would say, the top 3 clutch quarterbacks for me. Rank them however you want, with Mahomes obviously being 1, but it's Mahomes, Hurts, and Burrow. And then I'd probably say Stroud after last year, but we only saw it for one season. The sample size is too small for me. Like, who's to say he doesn't go out this year and have a bad year? I get what you guys are saying.
That's my point. Is he took a
he
team
revived a dead franchise, but Jalen Hurts was left out to die too, with not the most impressive cast, and he went to the playoffs, and then nobody expected him to go to the Super Bowl, and then he went to the Super Bowl. So I'm just saying, I don't 100% put all my eggs in the basket for the Texans yet.
And we're not even talking about stats. We're just talking about games. Let's give a sample size of last year. Last year, you would have to agree, CJ Stroud was more clutch than Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
That's just how it is. We're not talking about, stats or anything. We're talking about games that mattered and them turning around. And I think the edge goes to CJ Stroud because he took a dying franchise. You also got to give credit to D'Amico Ryans as well, and brought them to the playoff, which they hadn't been in a couple of years. So I don't know. We'll see after this, or this season. But as of right now, small sample size. Last season, it was CJ Stroud.
If you're talking about just on last season, yes, but then it should have said most clutch based on last season in smaller text under it. That was what got me. It's like if you're talking about overall, like Jalen Hurts has had a lot of clutch moments throughout his NFL tenure. More than CJ Stroud has. So I'm happy that at least Jalen Hurts is on here and they didn't put Burrow on here, because I think almost in the back of my head, I would probably say Burrow is the guy that I would put up there with. Like, Burrow is the guy who's taken down Mahomes, pretty sure twice.
Yeah, but he hasn't capitalized on it when he needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't found a way in the Super Bowl.
They've had the perfect team. They have had everything laid out for them. But when it matters, they choke. And that's something that we have seen consistently. It's almost always the two of them in the AFC Championship game, and who's coming out of that game. And it's not Cincinnati. We're
going to see. Maybe Joe Burrow won't.
Colin, you're just being biased right now because you're an LSU fan, so that's why.
No, I like Burrow a lot. I think Burrow gets disrespected a lot, by me included. Like, and it's definitely not Allen. It's definitely not Stroud. Based on, if you're talking about last year, sure. But like,
that's the only sample you can do for CJ Stroud.
Beating the Ravens isn't as impressive as I think that everybody else thinks it is. Beating the Ravens in the playoffs when they have expectations. I think it was at home too. Did they go to Baltimore and beat them there? They might have. They might have won in Houston too. I'll have to look that up. But my point being, if I had to take the top 3 most clutch QBs in the NFL for me, it would be Mahomes, Hurts, Burrow.
This is facts. They are overrated.
That's how I feel about the Ravens. That's why I'm like, okay, you beat the Ravens. Congratulations, Stroud. Like, that's impressive. Congratulations. Yeah. Like, I was rooting for you. Well, technically I was rooting for the Ravens. But point being, like, we've seen that before. Just saying. Remember when the Titans did it and everybody was shocked the year that Lamar won MVP? So I'm not 100% convinced yet. But moving along to our next topic, talking about a little bit with some Eagles training camp back full effect. Like I said, some fights are going on, players are back, some players are not showing up. Are you guys excited that football is back? Are you nervous for this season? How you feeling about this year?
What, Dalton? Yes, of course I'm excited that football's back, dude. Oh my God. I already transitioned to football season today. Forget about the Phillies. I've transitioned today. And
Tom would be so pissed if he was here.
Exactly. And like it's like, I will say last night felt like fall weather. I'm like, damn, I can't wait for football. And it's almost here, baby. It is almost freaking here. And it's so nice seeing Jalen Hurts come out in the practice field, dapping all the kids' hands. Saquon Barkley followed in second. And it's just the vibe is there. He's smiling now. Saquon Barkley is smiling. He is talking about the respect he has for the Eagles now that he's on the team. It is amazing that football is back, and I cannot wait to see what these birds can do. I'm so excited what happens, in the next few weeks in training camp, and then come August 8th, we have our first preseason game against the Ravens. So I cannot wait, dude. Cannot wait. It is insane.
I just can't believe it's in 2.5 weeks. That's my thing. Like I looked it up just because when I'm in work, summer at work, my job is pretty much you just hold on for dear life, and then once you hit the end of August, you can breathe again. So I finally looked at the calendar today, and I was like, oh, it's in 2.5 weeks. So now it is time to get a little bit excited. I personally don't really get excited until the week before week 1, so that like lull between preseason and the regular season. Just because again, it's sunshine and rainbows all the way through training camp. So I'm as exciting as it is to see everybody gelling together, and that's what we want to see at this point. For me, I just am ready to see the guys on the field. So I am ready for that week 1 matchup on Friday night in Brazil, because that's how it's going this year.
That is going to be crazy to see that.
I know. I think I'm going to have to like take that Saturday off of work or something so I can like watch the whole game.
Bars in Philly are going to go nuts. That's going to be an insane scene. But also, like you guys touched on earlier, I think you guys did a good job of. I want to just show this clip real quick. Saquon Barkley was actually asked about being in Philadelphia, being, in a new team and a new atmosphere. And he actually gave some love to Big Dom and kind of talked about how his perspective on Big Dom has changed. Gonna roll that tape real quick.
We got to make it happen.
Did you meet Big Dom?
Big Dom. He's the guy.
What is the story with Big Dom? What did you learn about him?
He's the guy. Like, that's the only thing I just know. Like, he's the guy. Like, whatever you need, like, he's the guy. Like, he's gonna get it done. And he just like it's like Philly. Like, it's so crazy when you see it from the opposite side. Like like I said, I was in New York and going against him. Like, you just like got a different viewpoint of everybody. But then,
well, what did you think of them compared to like what the reality is? Like, you saw them as what? Like, what was Philadelphia when you were a New York Giant?
Crazy, but they're still crazy, but in a different way. Like, it was more of like when you're on the Giant side, you're like, whoa, these motherfuckers are insane. Yeah. But like in this side, you're like, oh no, it's like. They bleed this. Like, this is Philly. Like, this is like, it's Eagles, Flyers, Philly. Like, they bleed this. Like, we lose on Sunday. Like, they having a bad week. Like, if it impacts your week. Like, Philly fans, and even like Nick. Like, when Nick, I remember, playing him in the playoffs, and like you see him across the sideline, and like he's doing all this stuff like that, and like we on that side, you're just like, oh man, like. I know I would never stand that guy. And then, like, I'm in meetings with him, and he's the head coach, and I'm sitting and talking to him, and now me and him are like this, like we're locked in. And it's like same thing with Jalen, same thing with all those guys. So it's like it's different from seeing it that side, but when you're here and it's like, especially the fans, it's like wow, like it's
same thing with Jalen. I wonder if he said Jalen was corny. That's what I was gonna say. I wonder what he said about Jalen.
It just granted, I didn't see any preseason interviews when he was on the Giants, but in that short clip, it just tells you, I'm getting chills right now, just how happy he is to be in Philly and how passionate he is already, and he hasn't even played a game yet. The fact that he is full 3 years, he's there. And the fact that he's showing respect, saying that we bleed green, which we do, he's actually excited to play football, it seems like. And he's going to give it his all in the field for this city. Forget New York. That's in the past. Now you're in Philly, baby. And we're going to take it. We're going to go to the NFC Championship and fucking win, dude. This is amazing. And the fact to see that he is so excited. Talking about Big Dom. Talking about Nick Sirianni. Oh, I never will talk to the guy ever when he was on the other side. Now he's like, oh, my God, Nick Sirianni is the guy. It just brings joy to my heart to see this guy so excited.
I think it feels like college for him. I think he likes that. Like, I think when Penn State, when you lose a game, you're walking to class, you see Saquon Barkley or somebody, yo, what the hell, man? you guys lost. That's just like the people are cut from that kind of cloth here. Maybe for our better fit or for our, liability sometimes. Point being, I think that he has fallen in love with the fact that people care. People really care. Yeah, he's embracing it to its fullest ability that he can't go grocery shopping anymore because he's going to get asked for photos all the time. Like, there are some people that I think that would be turned off by it. And then there are other people that are like, this is what I signed up for. Like, doing this is a dream. This is what I wanted as a kid. I wanted to be an NFL player in a city that cared about its fans, that had expectations for us. So I think that word expectations is going to come a lot to mind this year for Saquon, because he finally has expectations for himself. His fan base has expectations for him, and the two are like the yin and the yang. They go hand in hand. So should be a good year.
Yeah. Philly's just built different.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I got. I don't know if either of you guys have anything else before we wrap up here.
Trivia.
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about trivia. Well, we don't even have to do it, but we're still going to say it because actually, and I'm going to hit the intro in 1 second. Don't worry. But actually, we already have a clear-cut winner, and she's on the show tonight. Yeah, Ashley won by a lot. Score being, I'm just going to make it up. No, I'm kidding. But she won by at least 3 or 4. That's all you guys need to know. I don't know the score, but she had around, I want to say it was 9 or 10. And
I think I had more than that at the end of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
But she clearly won. I know that she was ahead by a landslide. So she will be crowned. We'll have to figure out a trophy for her and get that Amazon trophy her way. And then next season, you guys will see a crown on her name with the graphic as our season 6 champion. Congratulations, Ash. I'll be mailing your prize soon. I actually think I have a box, so it's sitting on my table downstairs.
Yay!
Yes, I finally do. So I actually have to just go to the death of sitting at the post office now, which is always fun.
Sorry. It's
all
Jack,
good.
I've really been craving Hers potato chips, and you can't get the good ones out here. So
yeah, stay tuned.
Onion chips right here.
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dalton, the mayor of Delaware.
Well, as we wrap up season 6, this is your last Jack's Trivia for this season. It's crazy. 3 years in the making. 3.5 years in the making. Anyway, the question we have for you is, granted, like I said, it's Eagles season, baby, starting today and here on out. So the question we have is Eagles. So which Eagle set a team record with 237 yards receiving in one game? Which Eagle set a team record with 237 yards receiving in one game? A, Tom McDonald. B, Harold Carmichael. C, Mike Quick. Or D, Terrell Owens. And tonight's answer for Jack's Trivia, the last one of season 6, is Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. It is Tommy McDonald. Dalton got it correct.
Surprise. I did not. Yeah.
Ashley got it wrong, even though she's the reigning champ. She said C. Mike
I don't know
Quick.
what I was thinking. I was like, no, that's definitely not it. But as soon as I said it, I was like, that's not right. So,
So
that's his autograph right there and his jersey, FYI.
Really?
That's how I know so much. Duker got it for me. So Duker went to like some card show when he was younger. And here, let me see if I can show you guys it real quick and just get close because it gives more context to it. If you look right where my finger's at, he put a U in my name. So my grandfather had him spell it D-A-U-L-T-O-N, but I really don't care because, I mean, it's a Tommy McDonald autograph. Beggars can't be choosers. So pretty cool experience, though. But that's the only reason I know that is because I'm pretty sure it says it in that little shrine I have right there.
And to the audience, Chris, I don't know. It's a little sketchy. I said the answer, and then you said Tommy Max. So I don't. You said at 10:07. It's already 10:08. So I don't know if I can give that to you, but you said the right answer.
And we'll give it to the fans. It doesn't fucking matter. We're clean slate anyway next season.
So without further ado, this wraps up season 6. Next season, we'll have the scoreboard up to bat. We'll have everything. I'll bring some new things, new little things to this topic or whatever you want to talk about. But I don't have anything else. Thank you for
no show next week, y'all. We are taking a much needed breather to ramp up for football season. So season 7 will start on August 7th. So, and it runs.
You heard it here.
Yep.
Well,
thank you, Ash. And make sure to subscribe, guys. If you guys are new around here, I see we got like 6 likes tonight on Facebook from Eagles Mania. That's you guys holding it down in that Facebook group. We appreciate the hell out of you guys, for real. Appreciate Kathy, appreciate Rich, and everybody as well in that group. Subscribe to our YouTube if you guys can over there on Facebook. Go on Spotify, write us a review. That's one of the best ways that you guys can help us out, get people listening in their cars so we can start to compete with some of these bigger dog stations and get more and more people listening to us. Jackson, go ahead and take us out of here on season 6, my man.
Yes, sir. Like I said, thank you for everyone who is here all season long. Appreciate the supporters. This wraps up season 6. We'll be back in 2 weeks with season 7. Without further ado, hey, Josh, it's an outro, not an intro. Hit that motherfucking outro.
What we got? 302BIRDS, Stinks.